Hey everyone, it's Penny, and I'm posting my weekly video. Sorry I missed last week, but I figured I'd come back strong this week and we'll get at it. So I thought for today's vlog and corresponding vlog post, I would talk more about what I can see and what I can hear, and just kind of getting to know me a little bit better. I apologize for the lighting change. I have my TV on, so it's just kind of cycling through. So I don't have the most advanced setup here, but it works. So I kind of want to talk about first my eyesight. So what can I see? What do I have trouble seeing? The conditions that I have that impede my vision, and so on and so forth. So with my vision, I'm pretty much, not pretty much, I'm legally blind in my left eye. So when I close my right eye, I can't really see much. Everything's kind of like out of focus. I can tell, like, up there is a TV. I can tell that my dresser is there, that there's a lamp there and a window here. So if I know my surroundings and I know the people that I'm with, I can tell who they are. But if I'm in a strange place where I meet strange people, and if I was just using my left eye, it would be really hard for me to distinguish their features other than that it's a human. Even gender would be really hard for me to tell with just my left eye unless I knew you. Yes, I can see colors, I can see light, and I can generally see big shapes. I can tell if with my left eye that a car is a car kind of thing. But that's it. My peripheral vision is okay. I can kind of start to see things from about here. But again, it's not very clear. So anytime that I'm crossing the road, I always have to be vigilant as to what's going on my left side to make sure that there's no cars coming, because and we'll talk about this a little bit later, my hearing, I'm also deaf in that ear, so I can't really hear anything, and I can't really see anything on this side, so it makes it difficult when I'm alone out and about, and if there's, stuff going on over here, I tend to miss all of it. My right eye, I can see fairly normally, I guess. Like, there's nothing really out of focus when I have my glasses on, things are in focus. But that's pretty much all my glasses do. They don't really help me see any better, other than just making sure everything kind of remains in focus. I can't see really smaller font size. I can't really see much font size. I have all my fonts size on my phone, on my iPad, my computers at work, are all big. So everything's bigger than what you would probably be comfortable with. So anytime that I need to read any labels on something or cooking instructions or anything like that, I have to rely on my sister, who's really apt and already kind of knows that. I just bought some medicated shampoo today for another issue I have, and I didn't really think about it. I knew I needed her to read it for me, because I needed to know how long it needs to be in my hair, and without even asking, she had looked at the box and already told me, it needs to stay in her hair, and she just knows. So my sister's really awesome. And when I have this condition called photophobia, which is not at all what it sounds. It's not a phobia of photos or light or anything like that. It means that I am abnormally sensitive to light. I'm very, very light sensitive. So even artificial light will bother me. So LED lights, those like Christmas LED lights, they're like little knives to my eyes. I can't look at them. Sunlight is definitely a problem for me. So when I'm out in the sun, if I don't have my sunglasses, and even sometimes when I do, especially my left eye, will naturally close to not let any light in. It's involuntary. It's not something that I can control. Even when I try to open it, if I don't have my sunglasses on, my eye literally won't let me open it. It's just like, nope. My right eye, I'll squint. It doesn't close automatically unless it's really bright. And then I'm kind of in trouble, which normally doesn't happen too often. But yes, I can't stand sunlight or anything that's reflecting off of a surface, so a car surface or like a window or the sunlight coming into my bedroom in the morning. It really really bothers me. So even at work, we have these incandescent or I guess they're not really fluorescent lights anymore, but they're definitely bright lights, and they did choose ones that for the most part are helpful or okay for people who get migraines that are triggered by artificial light. For me, unfortunately, they're still not great. So if you were to see where my desk is at work, it's in a dark area, and all the lights directly above me, in front, behind, and on both sides, so all around me are all out, so that my desk is in a pretty dark area, so that when natural sunlight comes in through the windows at work, it's fine because I'm not directly looking at the windows. But at night, when there's no light and it's just those artificial lights and they're not on for me, so I can just kind of have a more conducive work environment so that I'm not uncomfortable. I also have something called, and I don't know how to pronounce it. You'd think I would, but I don't. Nystagmus. Pretty much what that means is my eyeballs are constantly doing this. So even when I'm looking at something, so I'll try to show you guys. Pardon me. So if I kind of just look at the camera while I'm talking to you guys, you might be able to see that even though I am just staring straight ahead at my bed and I'm trying to keep focus on what's straight on my bed, my eyeball is in constant motion. And while you're there, you're also going to notice that I have a lump on my eyeball. That is called a dermoid cyst. That is pretty common with golden heart syndrome, which is one of the things I was born with. A lot of people that have golden heart syndrome will have dermoid cysts, although I don't know anyone personally. I know I have one, and I know it's in the literature, it's something that goes hand in hand. The dermoid cyst doesn't do anything to my vision. Thankfully, it's pretty far down on the eyeball. It doesn't interfere with my vision. However, in the last year or so, it has developed, or dermoid cysts. If you just click on the link in the blog that I linked down below, you'll read that they develop. Dermoid cysts can have lots of different things. They're made out of like stem cells, so they can create tissue like bones, teeth, and hair follicles and stuff like that. Thankfully, I only have hair follicles in mine so far, so I've been getting hair growing out of the cyst on my eyeball, which is not fun, because it literally feels like I have a hair in my eye, because I do. I legit have a hair in my eye that I can't do anything with. So I have to call my ophthalmologist and be like, hey, got a hair? And they're like, okay. So they'll make me an appointment. I'll go in. My eye doctor will put freezing drops in, which I guess they work. I don't know. And then she'll proceed to pluck between 1, and I think the most I've had at one time was 4 or 5 hairs. And she'll just pluck them, and imagine plucking your eyebrows, and it kind of hurts. Having a hair plucked out of your eyeball, it does not feel great. It legit hurts. Even with the freezing, it still kind of hurts. But at this point, it's just something I have to get used to. It's not going away. There's nothing that they can do for it. They can't cauterize that normally there is a condition where you'll get hair growing out, like your eyelashes will kind of grow more on the inside of your eyelid and kind of go into your eye. If that persists, then they will cauterize your hair follicle on your eyelash, so it will stop hair growth. Unfortunately, because of the hair follicle is on a cyst on my actual eyeball, there's nothing that they can do, so I just have to put up with it. And every time I feel like there's a hair there, then I call. They're really good. They know how painful it can be, so I usually can get in the same day, if not a day that makes sense for me. And I go and get it plucked and just go on with my day. So that's that. Yeah, so that's kind of more about my vision. As I get older and as my vision kind of goes downhill, because it's not going to get any better, and it has kind of gotten worse over time, then it'll be something that I look at getting a guide dog, or probably even before that I'll probably get a cane, one of those seeing eye cane things, just because I find it hard, even now at night, kind of to navigate where I'm going. I can't see very well anymore, so when I'm really tired, my vision is really worse, because I think the nystagmus or whatever it is kind of stops, and I can't see anything. So it'll be a challenge, and it'll be one that I have my sister here to help me with. So on to my hearing. What can I hear? As I mentioned earlier, on my left ear, I'm deaf. I think there's like 1 or 2 frequencies that I can kind of hear, but other than that, I can't hear anything. There's nothing getting through, and that was due to a surgery that I had when I was 16, and they took a bone out of my leg and tried to reconstruct my jaw. Not only did it fail months later, before that I knew that it had failed, I noticed that, so my surgery was in June of 1996, on my sister's birthday, and I stayed in the hospital for a month and a half, so 6 weeks-ish, almost 2 months. When I got home, I still had my mouth wired shut. I was still navigating. I was still a little, woozy from that. And then after I had my wires taken out, I was kind of fully recovered. I was still kind of not navigating the world right. Those around me kind of knew something was wrong, and I kind of knew something was wrong, but not to what extent. I think when I finally realized that I really had to say something to my mom was the one morning I was having breakfast, and I stood up. I had my cereal bowl in my hand, and I wanted to go right, because the kitchen was behind me, so I went to go right, and that's my sister. She just doesn't want to be on the camera, so that's okay. So I was going right into the kitchen, and I didn't go right. I went kind of straight left, and my mom had these like big elephant ornament things that she'd put plants on, and I just kind of fell right into it, It broke. The cereal bowl broke. I didn't break, thankfully, but everything else kind of broke. And then I kind of stood up, and I think that's when I realized that something was horribly wrong. So I got into Sick Kids. They did a hearing test. They thought, oh, maybe it's just wax in the ear. So they cleaned out the wax. Apparently there was a lot of wax in there. And then right away, same day, I had another hearing test. There was no improvement. There was nothing on that side. So they decided that they would do exploratory surgery to see kind of what was up, because they're like, that's not right, that's not normal. That's when they found that when they did the reconstructive surgery, that bone that they had placed, once all the swelling was down, they had realized they had inadvertently pinched the ear canal closed. There's no fixing that. That's a delicate structure. once that's damaged, it's gone. So yeah, and no hearing aid that can help that, nothing. So it's just something I've had to adapt to and gotten used to. I'm still clumsy. I still kind of just fall over for no reason sometimes, and that's just because of the hearing of my balance issues. And I don't hear anything on that ear. On my right side, not deaf, but I do have moderate hearing loss, so I don't hear certain frequencies. Higher pitch stuff I'll tend to hear more than the lower frequencies. And so in conversations, if there's a group setting, I tend to just disengage because I can't hear what's going on around me. I can't follow conversations. When I'm with somebody, I'll always be on their left side, so they have to be on my right side so I can carry a conversation. I don't hear, so when I'm sleeping, obviously, thankfully I live with my sister, but if I'm sleeping, I tend not to hear any kind of alarm. So I don't use a traditional alarm clock anymore because I just sleep right through it. I actually use my cell phone, and I have it near my pillow, and it's on vibrate, so it'll vibrate to wake me up, and I tend to go by that, although I've slept through that a couple of times recently. So again, it's certainly something that I'll look towards getting a service animal eventually, but right now I'm just kind of making do and coping. And if I really, really, really needed to, again, I have my sister, she'd probably set her alarm and then come in and like whack me over the head to wake me up. But yeah, so that's kind of what I can see, what I can hear. I don't do sign language. I can lip read a little bit, but not very well. And yes, but I'm always open to questions, so if there's something I didn't cover, then, or you have questions that you want me to elaborate further on, just let me know in the comment section. Please visit the written blog because there'll be something a little bit extra in that I didn't talk about here. But if you read that and you have questions or you want me to cover it in a video, again, just give me the thumbs up and leave me a comment. Subscribe if you've been enjoying the things that I've talked about. And I will see you guys next week.